Welcome to the Purposeful in Life podcast, where our mission is to help individuals and organizations find their purpose so that they may live a life that is fulfilling and inspired in and out of work. Your hosts, Christina Hall and myself, Garrett Willey, are passionate to inspire, teach, mentor, and serve our community. We have 42 years of combined experience as entrepreneurs and in international corporations. Both of us have military backgrounds. Myself, Garrett, as a commissioned officer with over 9 years of service, and Christina as a military spouse of over 15 years. Welcome to Purposeful in Life, where together we go on the journey of discovering a life filled with purpose and intention. Welcome back. It's been a while because I was gone on a trip, and we appreciate you joining us again for Purposeful in Life, where we're here to help you and us live a life on purpose with intention. And as you guys know, our focus is to help people, whether in work or out of work, be able to live with a life of purpose so they can come home at the end of the day and feel fulfilled. And my name is Garrett Willey, and my co-host.
I'm Christina Hall.
And today we have a special guest with us who's all the way in Florida, and we're in Washington State, just so you know that there's a 3-hour time difference. And you'll see her on the recording. She's that beautiful woman in purple. Her name is Donna Blevins, and she wrote a magnificent book, which we'll show you as well, that we'd all encourage you guys to get. And then also we'll put her website on the screen so you guys can look her up. And there's like a 4-minute mind shift. What would you call that, Donna?
A mind shift exercise.
Yes, a mind shift exercise, which is amazing. I did one with her, with a group of other people at a business conference that Donna and I were at, and it was just an amazing shift in your mindset so that you can help yourself focus and not be dwelling on the things that are negative, and help you also be able to train yourself to get through situations, and Donna will tell you more about it. So anyways, so we're here to talk to Donna, and obviously the focus and purpose of our show is to live on purpose. And Donna's life, she can help people once they find their purpose, and even help them through that process to be able to take action on that. And so we'd like to give Donna a chance to tell us about herself and her purpose and her book, so that everybody can get a little bit of an idea on how that is. And then later on in the show, we're going to do a couple of exercises with Donna where, we'll be the guinea pigs live with you guys, and then you can join along as well and be able to experience that, and you'll have a great experience by doing so. So Donna, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness, where do you want me to start? I mean, there's such a long line. I am 70 years old and proud to be 70. I have lived a phenomenal life. I have had a lot of ups and downs, and it's a lot more fun to win, and it sucks to lose. But let me tell you what, we learn as we live, and I am happy with where I am today because of what I've gone through. I am a professional poker player at 6 feet 5 inches tall, and my husband is 5'3". And yes, I did play basketball in high school, because that's your first question, but not but not of my own volition. I did not intend to play basketball. I got to high school. My brother, 2.5 years older than me, was a star athlete. And please take the dogs out. Thank you. I'm on a radio. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you can tell us about your husband. Was that your husband or your mom?
That was my husband.
And how tall is your husband, so we can share that with the audience as well?
I said my husband is 5'3".
You guys can see that. Visualize what that looks like.
You can do the own math in relationship to that. And my dogs keep coming in here because my husband did not shut the door, but we'll just let it be. And when I got to high school, and high school, by the way, was 5 grades. It was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The reason I'm telling you that is that when I was in high school for 5 years, people would say, "Oh, she was slow." And I got to high school, and they said, "Donna, would you like to play basketball?" And I said, "No, not particularly." And because I had grown so fast. I had grown 9 inches in the 5th grade.
Wow.
And when you grow that fast, your muscles and ligaments are trying to rip away from the bones. And the Achilles tendon, that is the longest one in your body, goes down your leg and up under your foot, and it was trying to rip apart. So going into the 6th grade, in order to take the pressure off of that, they actually put me in elevated shoes.
So you're even taller?
Yeah, 3-inch heels in order to take the pressure off. And it was all about getting accustomed to the physicality, because growing up, we're dealing with the physical body so much. And my mother said, straighten up, stick them out and be proud. And that was way before I had anything to stick out. And Mother was one of the she was the original Yoda, by the way, because when she would read me that book, the book about the little engine that could, remember that child's book?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever hear about that book? Did you have that in Germany?
No. It's okay.
She's the only one who hasn't heard it.
It was about a little engine that was trying to get over up to the top of a mountain.
Okay.
It was a little cartoon engine. And that's what it said all the way up the hill, the mountain. My mother changed that as she was reading it to me. She said, I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. I know I can. So she imprinted that on my subconscious as a small child. And it was a case of knowing that I could do something, whatever that might be. And over the years, I've been a marketing consultant. I've been in sales. We had a real estate company. I was the management broker for the Department of Veterans Affairs, U.S. Veterans Affairs. Took custody of properties the VA acquired because of the foreclosure process. Got into poker in 1998, and it was something that actually saved my life. And you go, poker saved your life? Yes, poker did, because I was so into the stress. You know how you are when you've got all these contractors. You know any contractors there? Garrett. You're dealing with contractors. I'd be dealing with roofers, and I had to do 2 on-roof inspections for the VA. I was petrified. At 6'5", I was petrified of heights. Now, is that odd or what? Anyway, and I had to do 2 on-roof inspections, but I had to figure out how I'm going to turn this into a plus. And by the way, when I got on the roof, I'd asked the roofer, I said, if this is your mother's house, or if it's your home, what would you have done differently? Teach me something new today. And they'd go, oh no, she's doing that again. Because I wanted to learn something new every time. And they were the ones that taught me how to deal with contractors, what I needed to look for when I was doing inspections. But I was in so much stress because we were working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And poker became something that was put into the Indian casinos in Florida. And they put some card tables in their bingo halls is what happened. And I saw that in our weekly tablet, a really tiny town in the southwestern corner of Virginia. And I said to my husband, would you teach me how to play poker? And I could see the gears shifting when he's going, that's a guy's game. Well, maybe if she learns to play and likes it, I can play more. Yes, I'll teach you. And I'm analytical, and we actually dealt out. I wouldn't sit down at a table until we had dealt out 50,000 hands, and that's not that many because you're dealing them fast. 50,000 hands, and looking at how the cards were flowing. I wanted to get an idea, and what happened was I'm sitting there. I mean, Garrett, have you ever been doing something and you felt scattered?
Yes, because you have so much on your plate that you're thinking about all the other things. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And I'm sitting at the poker table, and all of a sudden I'm looking at the cards, and I'm thinking about contractors, the one I had to deal with today, the one I'm dealing with tomorrow, and I'm just really scattered. And all of a sudden I had one of those epiphanies, one of those universal smacks the forehead, and I realized, it's like I heard this voice saying, the only thing that exists is the hand that you're in. Nothing else exists. The past cards are gone. The future cards are not here yet. And it was that moment that I went to that mindful spot. And that was how poker was life-changing for me, and has been one of the things that has has helped me get through a lot of challenges over my life by being mindful.
So Was that what sparked your interest into getting your doctorate and going down this road where you wrote this book? Or was it something else?
Actually, my poker coaching clients kept saying to me, you tell us to shift your mindset. How do we do that? And so I would take the procedures and methods I had been using for many years, and I made them into simple steps, because my verb is simplify. I'm analytical, but I want to know things on a simple level. And I would say, well, let's try this. And I would try to break it down into steps, and they'd go, oh, that doesn't make any sense either, with a lot of 4-letter words. And I would say, okay, well, let's try this. And so that my poker coaching clients were the ones that helped me craft the methods that I've been using all my life into very simple technology. And they were the ones that said, would you please write the book? Write the book. Write the book. And Halloween of 2013, I thought that the book's draft was ready. And I've got 3 screens around me, and I'm looking at one of my screens above here, and I've got a mind shift exercise there. And I stood up, and I'm like a brat. I said, I want something that proves my mind shift exercises work. And I stomped my foot, and I had a massive center left brain stroke, which mutes you. And I could only say 2 words. I could say Donna and crap. And I was airlifted to our Florida teaching hospital. And all along the way, they're saying she will never be able to speak fluidly again. And it will take her 8 to 9 months before she can talk. And I chose to think of that differently. And I actually started using the mind shift exercise that we'll be sharing today with myself. I did that probably 100 times in 3 days, and I was able to speak fluidly in 3 days.
Wow.
That is so amazing.
So can you share with our listeners what the mind shift is? Because it might sound a little like they're not understanding what we're talking about. Just do you have a shorter description before we get into the meat of what a mind shift is, so that they can understand what we're talking about?
A lot of mind shifting has to do with the words we choose, because the words we choose set ourselves up for either success or failure. The process is simple, but it isn't always easy, because we deal with our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind is a perfect recorder. It's just a lousy playback system. It plays back events and things that are anchored with highly charged emotions. Hence, that's where PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, comes from. And in essence, mind shifting is programming our mental software, reprogramming our mental software in the moment.
I like that. I'm writing it down.
Yes, me too.
And hopefully our listeners are too. So you just mentioned PTSD. You did some work with the VA?
I've been a volunteer for 8 years for the VA hospital in Tampa, Florida. And once a month, I do a poker therapy session for those with traumatic brain injury and polytrauma, as well as those in the spinal cord injury wing. Because I wanted to do something that was fun, but kind of smuggle some mind-shifting exercises in without saying, I'm going to teach you something. Mm-hmm. It's like by doing, we learn things better when we do.
And your exercises have been used throughout the VA? Do you know? With other people? Because that psychiatrist that we met said that he's heard of you and heard of your techniques being used in the VA elsewhere, and he was in Alabama. Aaron.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. When the book
maybe it's from your book. I don't know.
Well, when the book was published in 2017, 2 years ago, and I took a copy of it copy of the book to my husband's primary doctor at the VA. I was going to gift it to her. And one of the nurses saw it, grabbed the book out of my hands, grabbed my wrist. She's a little tiny woman. She's dragging me down a hallway, and she said, you have to talk to the chief of the pain clinic here. And I just mentioned about the fact that we have to reprogram our mental software. And, it's kind of like rebooting. It's almost like rebooting too. And I think I've kind of sort of started to think about it as we're uninstalling software too, because there's some software we simply don't need to have. We want to get rid of them. So we're uninstalling some of them. And he asked me if I would do a mind shift exercise, what I do at their pain clinic. They have it once a week. And I said, sure. How much time? He said 15 minutes. And I said, ooh, I don't know what I can do in 15 minutes, but sure, I'll give it a shot. And there were 13 people at that meeting on the following Tuesday. And I went through the mind shift exercise we're going to go through together today. Mm-hmm. And it was astonishing because I asked people to pull up something that's really dark and hurts them, whether it's emotionally or physically, and to rate it on a pain scale when 0 is nothing and 10 is so awful. And 2 of them, when I finished and asked them to rate then where they were, 2 of them nearly jumped out of their chairs and said, both of them said that they went from an 8 to a 3, just like that.
That's beautiful.
I don't even know what to say because I love that. I started reading your book and read about it, and I'm all into, personal development. And the more I go into personal development, the more I know that everything happens in the mind, and it's a mind thing first that you have to change. Mm-hmm. So I'm all about this, and you explain it so well in your book. Like, I have to encourage everyone to read this book. It's amazing. And yeah, I did that one exercise that you just described about rating your pain on a scale from 0 to 10. And, there are so many other exercises out there and so many meditation practices and all of that. But that exercise, I don't know, it took me like maybe 5 minutes. And mm-hmm. even without the guide, and just doing it on my own, I went from probably an 8 to a 3 too. Like, it was amazing. So
wow.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited about that because it is simplifying what I've been told by people in the scientific community, that my methods are the only one that they've ever seen where there is a rating scale. Mm-hmm. I told you I'm analytical, but I'm also, I'm kind of left brain, right brain. I'm analytical, but the other time I'm kind of woo-woo.
At least you admit it.
I do.
And you know what? We love you anyways.
Yeah, well, I'm a hybrid.
We love you because of, right? Tell me how to rephrase that.
Oh, well, we love you because of. It's fun. I like that.
Yeah. Because it's not anyways. We love you all the time, regardless, because you're beautiful and wonderful. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, the process makes my techniques measurable and verifiable, mm-hmm. because that's what's so important about it, is people would experience the mind shift exercise we're just going to get to in just a few minutes, and they would say, wow, I had some amazing shift. And they would come to me or contact me a couple of weeks later and they'd say, it's not working anymore. And I said, okay, when did you first experience it? And they would tell me. I'd say, well, how many times have you been doing it? And they would say, well, just that once. And I said, how many showers do you have? How frequently do you have a shower? Yeah. And it's a case of something that we need to do on a daily basis, but it's not a case of needing to do half an hour or an hour of meditation. It'd be nice to be able to do that. But we have so much on our plate. I've actually developed a process called a 10-minute a day method, because all you need to do is to schedule for yourself. Put it on your alarm, your alarm, your phone. A time, block that off. Put it on your Google Calendar too. Block it off so that is the time for you. You might make it 20 minutes where you have 5 minutes to get to your place where you're going to go through the mind shifting, and then 5 minutes to go ahead and get away. So you might block off 20 minutes, but you want to dedicate that 10 minutes to it. And you need to do a process to start with at least 40 days without break, without missing a day. We're not talking about having a weekend off. Every single day. We breathe all the time. And it's really important to do that because it takes at least 40 days to create a new habit. Sometimes it takes much longer to do that. But once you start the process of anchoring, changing, it's shifting negative thoughts into positive patterns. Shifting negative thoughts into positive patterns by going through a simple 10-minute a day process.
Yeah. And what a lot of people also forget is that, that negative belief or a limiting belief, whatever it is that's in your subconscious, has been there, probably since your childhood. So yes, it's not going to be just one simple exercise and it's gone. You need to work on it, like you said. Do it on a daily basis.
Christina, that's exactly right. We're like an onion, and the thing of it is that when you peel back a layer, when people start crying, when doing a mind shifting, I'm saying, we're onions. You peel back an onion, you cut into an onion, it makes you cry. So that's why I justify the crying is okay in mind shifting.
It's okay to be vulnerable and honest with yourself and others, because that's how we get to another level of ourselves. I think it was John Maxwell that talks about the lid that we all have in our own personal development. And everybody sets up themselves like, this is how far I can go. It could be in business or personal or in their work environment. They're like, oh, I made X amount of money. It could be anything. Doesn't matter what it is. And they create a lid for themselves. And then they can't get through it because they haven't been able to teach themselves how to, like you're doing, shift your mind so that you can learn to grow past that point that you've had these self-limiting ideas on. And that's what this podcast is here for. And that's why it makes total sense for us to have Donna on here in case someone's wondering, what does this have to do with purpose? It has everything to do with it, because once you discover what it is you're supposed to do in your life, how do you get to do it? We have to get past ourselves to do it. And then a good way to do that, a fantastic way to do that, is what Donna's teaching and what you're going to share with us here in a minute when we do that first process. What are the two things that we were talking about doing today? There was two different techniques.
One's called, isn't that interesting? And Christina had loved the egg.
Oh, man, yes.
And we'll share that one as well, because my coaching clients over the year, when I share the egg with them, they'd go, why did you wait so long to share the egg with me? And go, well, because you need foundational information.
Yes.
But what I want you to know is that once you understand, once you've gone through that, creating this habit of mind shifting, once you know it, once you, how can I put it? You rewire your neural pathways so that your brain understands how to do it. It can be done in a moment, on the fly, whenever needed, once you've trained yourself how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to ask you, Donna.
Yes.
Well, it's what we're talking about anyways, but it's just more specific. Because I think you're fulfilling your purpose right now. Maybe you have to tell me more so, or maybe not, than ever in your life. But when you're out pouring into other people's lives and helping them break through, have you thought about like what you believe your purpose is in life? And then if you can articulate that for us, it'd be wonderful. Like, what do you think your purpose is on this planet? Why were you created? Is that too tough of a question?
No. Now, which story shall I share?
Oh, because that's what the pod was for. Like, I have 42 stories to share. Which one's the most appropriate for the situation? You know what? Any one of your stories is good.
I tell you what, let's get into one of the mind shifting exercises.
And then come back to that?
Yeah, because of the fact that I believe I'm here doing exactly, it's okay. It's hard to have any more purpose than potentially saving lives.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I shared this mind shift exercise, we're going to go into about 5 years ago on a complimentary webinar that I had done. I had about 30 people who were on live, and then I had it on replay. I have no idea how many people watched it. But I received an email from someone I did not know. He was on my list, but I didn't personally know him. And he said, "You saved my life." And I said, you sit in print and you go, okay, tell me more. And I replied back just like that. And the email that I got back turned the faucet on, because he had a pistol and one bullet, and he was ready to use it. He opened up his email to send a goodbye to his family, and the pistol and the bullet were sitting on his coffee table, and he saw the replay. And sometimes I think I need to go back to my system and see what the subject line was on that replay. And he opened it up, and in the replay, one of the things that I say when I'm doing it, I'm saying, whether you're hearing me live or whether you're hearing a recording, I want you to know that I am speaking directly with you right now in this moment. When you hear my voice, I am speaking directly with you. And he said he got that. He felt it. He energetically felt it. And in the first part of the mind shift exercise, the first step is to forgive yourself. And he said he fell down on his knees and he cried for 30 minutes. And I want to tell you that he was one of the final people to edit Mind Shift on Demand, my book.
Because he experienced it.
Yeah.
And it changed his life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I that's why I said I believe you found your purpose. I was just trying to get you to articulate it, which you kind of did with this book, because it's when you're sharing with this and you're able to change people's lives for the better, and like in that situation, you saved a life. This is what we're all here for, is in service of others. And you found your purpose in serving others to help them grow past what they've limited themselves to, and change the language that they have in their self-talk and what they say out loud. And you've corrected me several times, and I appreciate it. You could keep doing it. You could keep saying, here, now change your word to this.
No, it's a gentle tag. It's a loving tag. And tag is one of the mind shift exercises, and it's a loving tag.
Yes.
Rather than saying, change that.
I'll take your tag, and I love it. So because I want to grow. So, and that's what we're all here for. So okay, the show is yours. Take us away to the next step on the exercise.
Okay. So the show is mine. Wow. But I'm looking up now. When I'm looking away from the camera, I'm looking at you, and this is just wonderful. Give me a wave, because I love that. Look at you.
It looks so funny to see us on the screen.
Yeah, and I just, in the podcast, I'm going to have this. We're doing this through Zoom, so we actually have the video of this as well. So I want to let you all know that rather than just using it as a podcast, I think that you should really take this to the level of using this on YouTube and videos, because people like that as well. So I just want to do that. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do, so you're giving me permission now to step into doing some mind shifting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What I'd like for you to do is just to be comfortable yourself. And anyone who's hearing this, I want to let you know that you can listen to it as you're
Sadie.
driving.
We want Sadie to be involved in this as well. Sadie's in the studio, and she's recording, and she's beautifully pregnant right now, fanning herself. And I wish she was on camera too. So that's something I have to change here in the studio. But we'd like her to be involved as well. So she's here too. Okay, sorry, Donna.
Okay. No sorry required.
She's making a note of add a camera for back end.
Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. And if you're driving, you might not want to do that. If you're driving and listening to this, it's worth your while to find a place to park and then go back and listen to this. But you can listen to it later, just go through the process. So just go ahead and close your eyes, and I want you to take 3 simple breaths that are deep. Breathe in through your nose, hold it, and just be there with holding it. Put your shoulders back, hold it, and then exhale through softly pursed lips. And when you think you've exhaled enough, exhale some more. Just let that breath go. Inhale one more time. It's a place of centering, of coming to the moment. We can actually come to mindfulness in one single breath. Be there with it as you hold it. And now exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hold it. Just be there and exhale. Just leave your eyes closed. We're going to do this with you in your own mind, we're going to step into the mind landscape. I'd like for you to bring something to mind that is on the pain scale, on the discomfort scale, is close to a 10. Something that has given you emotional trauma, even physical trauma. Bring that to mind. And when you have something to mind that you could rate up to an 8, 9, or 10, would you go ahead and I'm going to look up at you, Garrett, and Christina, and would you nod your head when you have something to mind? Okay, you both have it to mind. That's good. What I want you to do is just in your own mind, rate that and put that number to the side. Kind of imagine in your mind you've got a Post-it note. Just write that on the mind and put that over to the side. Now, I'd like you, with that to mind, the first step is to forgive yourself for where you are. Just forgive yourself. That self-forgiveness is such a huge part of living. We condemn ourselves so much regardless of what we have been doing. So just forgive yourself. And I want you to say to yourself, I would say to myself, I forgive you, Donna. So I want you to say to yourself, I forgive you, and then say your name. Do that now. Just go ahead and say it out loud.
I forgive you, Christina.
Go ahead and say it again and really feel the forgiveness.
I forgive you, Garrett.
I forgive you, Christina.
I truly do forgive you. Say that.
I truly do forgive you.
I truly do forgive you.
And always use your name.
I truly do forgive you, Garrett.
Christina.
Yes. And now, say, please forgive me. Garrett, please forgive me.
Please
Use your
forgive
name.
me. Please forgive me, Garrett.
Please forgive me, Christina.
Yes, please forgive me. Say it again with your name.
Please forgive me, Garrett.
Please forgive me, Christina.
Go ahead and say it one more time.
Please forgive me, Garrett.
Please forgive me, Christina.
And say, I do love you, and say your name.
I do love you, Garrett.
I do
I love
you, Christina.
I love you so much with your name.
I love you so much, Garrett.
Christina.
I do love you.
I do love you, Garrett.
Christina.
And thank you in your name.
Thank you, Garrett.
Christina.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Garrett.
Christina.
And thank you.
Thank you, Garrett.
Christina.
In your mind's eye, I would like you to ask this situation, this incident, this entity to show itself in a 3-dimensional form, to take form. Ask it to take form. And when it has a form in your mind's eye, just go ahead and nod your head. If you have any difficulty with it taking a form, all you need to do is to give it a name, to name it. And then you can look at that word in your mind's eye and that becomes a form. Do you have it now that you can see something in your mind's eye? Okay, I get the head nods. And when you now have that 3-dimensional figure in your mind's eye, it now has a boundaries. It is no longer out there and all around you. It is finite. Just think about that. It is now finite in your mind's eye. And as you're noticing it, just step back one step in your mind's eye and say, isn't that interesting? Say it out loud.
Isn't that interesting?
And as you say that, it begins to move away and it begins to fade.
Isn't that
Step back one more step and say, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
It's moving further and further away, and it's getting smaller. Wow, look at that. And step back one more step, and you are totally detaching from it. You're no longer feeding it or fueling that entity, and say, oh, isn't that interesting?
Isn't
Isn't
that
that
interesting?
interesting?
And it is nearly over the horizon, so dim and faded. Wow. Now, open your eyes, look up and to your right, pivot your entire body 45 degrees to your right, and continue looking up, and ask out loud, where would I rather be?
Where would I rather be?
With more feeling.
Where would I rather be?
Okay, come back to me. Now, I'd like for you to rate where you are on the discomfort scale. Where are you now? Give it a number. Garrett, would you care to share your before and after numbers?
8 was the discomfort. I don't think I have anything that's really a 10. And like a 3 or 4 because it just kind of disappears off into the corner.
Wonderful. Christina, would you care to share?
Sure. I started out with a 9, and I'm at a 2.
Wow,
Nice.
that's astonishing how fast. Now imagine once you practice this method, this technology, you practice going through these 7 simple steps. And I've added at the beginning the self-forgiveness talk. That's not in the book. That has evolved over time. And what happens is as you use a mind shift exercise, you will change it based on your own personal needs and your wants, and it will evolve. And what I've found is that adding in that self-forgiveness talk has been very helpful. And I was doing it for myself and had overlooked the fact that I would put it in the book. And I really like having that in there. And one of the chapters is on the sound of forgiveness, and those words are there, but I started changing it and adding that to it, and it's very powerful because it brings the physicality. The more physicalness that we add into the mind shifting, tiny shifts. One of the reasons that you look up and to your right hemisphere, is that you're accessing the right hemisphere of the brain. It's unnecessary to it's unnecessary to try to decide where you want to be. All you need to do is ask that question. Where would I rather be? That's the creative side of your brain. And when you ask it, you literally have given your subconscious mind a well-crafted question that will help to reframe and to uninstall some software and to overwrite others. Once you start practicing it, you'll be able to do this in seconds, literally, with being able to say, that alone, and it's like almost like a pachinko machine, the Japanese pachinko machine. The little balls will go and find its mark. So your mind will be able to do that in a heartbeat. So what are your takeaways from that mind shift exercise, Garrett?
Oh, so I liked it better than the first time because we were kind of in a public place. Not that it could be any more public than
Yeah.
A podcast.
a
Fine. What
podcast
are you
that who
talking
knows how
about?
many people listen, but we were in that restaurant, and so I still felt that it was a connection there, and then I was able to like take that pain and throw it away, have it disappear over the horizon. And then I really liked, I didn't catch that the first time, how the where would you rather be? I like that as well, because it's a reframing of the mind. And I do also really like what you just said about how if we practice, then we can get to the point where when we have that anxiety or anger or frustration on ourselves or the experiences that we're going through, we can just go, and then you can, through that process in your mind, go, okay, reshift. And so that's what I really like. And then obviously outside of that is the language and the stories that we tell ourselves. Is something that I have a big issue with, or
Until recently.
until recently, yes.
Thank you.
And she's going to do it because I need to. I am changing my story that I tell myself to believe in myself, and that's what we all need to do, because we're here to serve others and become the best versions of ourselves that we were meant to be, and that's what we're doing. So, and that's what we're here for on this podcast.
So Christina, what was your takeaway?
Yes. So many. I don't even know where to start right now. But I did that exercise actually yesterday. I tried it on my own, and that's where I got the vast improvement too, with a different discomfort that I had. And I actually was going back 2 weeks ago with the one that I was doing now or thinking of now, and I was trying to figure out a way to get my mind away from it, to ponder and dwell on it. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be nice if I had some help doing that, like thinking about it? And now, like, I actually have a technique to do that. So that's freaking amazing. You get what you ask for, I guess.
Wonderful.
Yes, but what did I want to say? Oh, I really love. So a year and a half ago, I was not able to look myself in the mirror and tell myself, something nice about myself or that I love myself. So the first exercise, or the first part of it, saying that you forgive yourself and that you love yourself, is so, so important. Like, I can't stress that. And I feel like that's like the first task that you have to do to be able to shift your mind and really understand who you are, and figure out how you become the person you want to become, So, yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. I'm blessed. Thank you. Your responses are phenomenal. And when Garrett said changing the story you tell yourself, I love that, because that's exactly what it is that my motto has become: the words you choose set yourself up for either success or failure. And that's it. It is all in the word choice and how we view our lives and what we focus on. When people are in physical pain, when they've had an injury, a really bad injury, when they focus on that pain, it gets worse. We can detach from physical pain, and we can literally lessen physical pain without increasing medicine when we can detach from that. It is possible. And when I had the verification by the U.S. veterans with chronic pain who had just almost jumped out of their chair saying, wow, it's just astonishing that you can do that. And it happens with everything. Whenever something, Christina, have you ever had something that just kind of gnawed if you felt like this thing was just in your gut, you just felt unhappy about it and you didn't know what it was?
Yes.
Has that ever plagued you?
Yes, definitely.
And all you need to do, rather than finding out what that is, it's unimportant to know. We don't have to know. And you do this, isn't that interesting? You can do that detachment process, and you're going, okay, I'll just let you kind of reside over there rather than in here in my gut. And it lessens. And I promise you, tomorrow it will be less when you go through a process. It's really pretty amazing. But I want to get to the egg before we run out of time today, by the way, since you love that so much.
Yes, teach us about the egg.
Teach us. No, I'm just sharing. Okay, so the egg, I came across the concept of the egg in the 70s, before many of the people who are listening to this were born. It might have even been before their parents were born. Anyway, it was in the 70s. It was a concept that I was introduced to the fact that our body doesn't stop at our skin. Our body is an energy field that is outside our skin. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Tell me more.
I knew that was going to happen. That's why I said to the oh, that's not me. Okay. So have you ever heard of Carillion photography?
No.
Okay. It's photography where they can literally see a figure and see outside a person's body. They can take pictures of the energy field. And that's when I first discovered it. And literally, now people who are really pragmatic, it's a little odd, sounds too woo-woo to say, just take your hand of your right hand or left hand and just kind of go towards your arm. And you will feel, if you just kind of have a sense of it, you'll feel a little bit of a resistance. Now, I know that the people that are really pragmatic are going, that is BS, and that's okay. But just assume, and I know that assume is not making it out of you and me, but just assume that you acknowledge that our body is outside of our skin. I want you to install around that, your energy field, an egg. And it's not an egg like a Humpty Dumpty egg that would crack, or that's the size of a hen egg or a huge goose egg. I want you to install an egg around your entire energy field, and I want it to be mirrored on the outside. So that mirror is selectively, it's selectively reflective. It only reflects negative energy. Now think about that. Have you ever walked into a room and you felt really bad because of all the negativeness that was there? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been standing in a room and someone walked up behind you that had this dark cloud and you felt that darkness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You're feeling that because we are sensitive beings. And what we want to do is we want to put a protective shield, but it's a shield that moves, and it's flexible. If you move your hand out like this, you're pushing out like that. Go ahead and do that with me. Just go ahead and push out, and you're actually moving. It's moving with you. It's moving with you. It's above you, to the side. Now just think about that. Your shield is there, and it only reflects. I know you're going, woo, he's going, oh, he likes that now. I can tell you. I can look up at him.
I was giving
that.
Christina a hard time and pushing her
Yes,
because
don't get my energy field.
Well, when you feel like you want to sit far enough away from somebody, that?
Yeah.
That's because those energy fields are touching each other, because you find that comfort level. So, okay, you're installing the egg, and what it does is mirrored on the outside, and it selectively reflects negativity, not to where the negativity started. If you send it back to where it came, you're going to create bad karma. That's not what we're doing. We're going to selectively reflect it back out to the universe so it becomes completely neutralized, and it can be resurfaced, where we have our own recycling system of energy when we neutralize it. So think about that. It selectively reflects negativity and allow all positiveness to come to you. I have been using this for years, and my husband is a 100% service-connected disabled combat veteran. And what I have discovered is that when we go into a hospital, it is a virulent place of negative energy, not just bugs and viruses and bacteria. The energy is off the scale in relationship to negative. I started putting on the egg consciously, but now I want to tell you, now that you have the egg on, it will always be there. When I said started putting on, I meant I would take a few moments maintaining it. It's kind of like a vehicle. Our body is the vehicle. Our mind is the driver. And when we're dealing with the egg around our vehicle, we need to maintain it. We need to take a few moments. It can take 30 seconds to do. Get quiet, look around the egg. Are there some cracks? And I'm telling you, when you get upset, it's kind of like doing that to your egg. You crack it. You need to repair it. And when I first heard the concept of that, it was so stupid to me. I'm going, I got my eyes closed. Okay, let's repair that. And I'm going, I can't repair that. And when I first started doing it, I thought, well, what can I do? I thought, well, the shiny duct tape, everything works with duct tape. So in my mind's eye, I got out of the egg. I walked around. I took this duct tape. I put it on the outside, and I said, oh, that works. So I had put the tape over it, so then the egg healed itself. So it's a process, and the egg is powerful. When I first started going into malls in the 70s, I wouldn't go shopping because I would get sick, because I was picking up all the energy from everyone. I'd get a headache. I don't get headaches. I would get a headache, and I was told by the person who introduced me to the concept of our energy field around us that I was picking up that energy. So this is like putting on your egg is like installing. It's like with an energetic radar. I talk about energetic radar. It's like becoming aware when you come across negative energy. You know, you need some energetic vaccine, and that's kind of a combination of that. And by the way, Mind Shift On Demand is my book, and my site is mindshiftoндemand.com. Mind, M-I-N-D, mindshiftoндemand.com.
Please go there.
Oh,
We're
thank
going to
you.
put it on our on the podcast as well, so people can see that. That way, they
Cool.
can get contact to you and see more information about you and your book, and that way they can follow up with us. And we're going to try to help other people find that. Also, if you see us on Facebook, you can send us messages. Christina and I will be happy to help and get you connected with Donna as well. So
Good. And on Facebook, I can be found facebook.com/Big Girl Poker. They call me the big girl of poker in the poker industry at 6'5". Why not? Why not just use the brand?
Yeah.
So send me a friend request, and when you do, message me and said, I heard you on the podcast, Purposeful Life podcast. When you do that, I'll accept it. Otherwise, I got bots all the time sending me friend requests. So
don't you hate
Sure.
that?
Yeah.
So the egg,
yes,
I'm trying to wrap my mind around this because I'm probably on
I
the more
know.
pragmatic side.
But
But I
that's
like
okay.
it because I know that I don't like to watch the news because of all the negativity.
Good,
I try to
good,
minimize my time around people that are being negative or
good.
have limited mindsets when it comes to like finance, like money, or they always want to talk about negative things. Or I've even had somebody recently who's like, "Don't talk about business. We're at a barbecue," and I was like, "We're here to talk about life," and I'm like, "Well, business is life, and I'm trying to help this other person find a solution to what they do for a living." So that negativity, like, I just let it wash. I always talk about it, just let it wash off me. Like you
That's
feel it
cool.
because you can't help but to feel it when it's there, and it's just like, okay, I don't know if ignoring it is the right word, but I try to just be like, okay, just wash it off, let it
I
go.
like that. I like that a lot.
Um,
Water is very healing.
so
You can kind of look at it as somebody on your shoulder, just go, okay, that's enough of that.
yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
is it where we visualize those things, like I'm saying, I just wash it off, you visualize it and then let it go?
Sure.
Is that the egg concept?
Absolutely.
You're just visualizing a shield around you. Okay, I'm a guy, so I'm going to use combative terms. A shield around you that's protecting you from negative energy. And how do we do
Yeah.
that? I don't understand
How about one of my coaching clients is an attorney, and we're talking about really being pragmatic, and she's going, I can't get the egg, but she has a tube. The shield is totally fine. She has a tube, like stepping into a tube, like beam me up, Scotty.
Mhm.
And she has literally that becomes like a tube, but a shield is absolutely fine. It could be armor,
Mhm.
whatever. Armor would be great for a guy. My husband, who is so pragmatic, and he's going, none of that works, but he said, I don't believe it will work, but I'll put the egg on anyway. And then he says,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
funny.
That's exactly it. But he says it's phenomenal. It changes everything. You don't have to, this is the key. You don't have to believe it will work. You just have to do the work.
Mhm.
I like that. How many quotes we're going to have for me today? I think that was like number 4 or 5. It could become
They're
like a
not enough.
meme,
Yes.
You don't have to believe it'll work.
Yeah.
Just have to do
You
the
just
work.
have to do the work.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Well, and my assistant, Daniel, is so great because I have him do what we call nugget mining with any of the podcasts or any shows that I'm on. And that's what you're doing right now. You're nugget mining. And thank you so much for saying that you've had a lot of those today.
Oh, several. Okay, so teach us more about the egg because we only have about 5 minutes left, and then we have to wrap up our podcast.
I have a question about the egg.
Okay.
Yes,
well, yeah,
please.
do
Yes,
So,
yes. Questions are good.
The mom in me is wondering how could I help my daughter put the egg on, or how to simplify it for her.
She's
How old is she?
She's 4. Would it
Well,
work
for
for her?
one thing, she would get it. You don't have to, she would get it. You could just say, just pretend like you have this mirror around your body.
Mm-hmm.
She gets it. you 4 years old?
Yeah.
She'll visualize that instantly.
Yeah, something happens after we're 6, like with everything that the world has said, you need to be, uh, eh, they keep countermanding the things that kids are open up to.
Yes.
But, and by the way, when you're with your daughter, you can literally, and she's right with you, close to you, you can put an egg around the both of you at one time if you wish.
Yes, awesome. I was just thinking that. That is amazing. And that could
Yeah,
be like a game too with kids.
absolutely.
Come
Absolutely.
be part of mommy's egg.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then she'll come up and give you a hug, and then you can be like, you feel safe now.
Yeah.
You're protected, and those bad feelings can be reflected off into the world, and they don't have to be part of who you are.
Perfect.
Yeah, and don't get too woo-woo here.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to be part of your woo-woo-ness.
He's coming around slowly.
No, but I'm pragmatic. Like I said, I'm a hybrid, and there's a part of me that goes, oh yeah, there's a part of me that goes, oh no way. It's just like split personality.
We all have that a little bit, so yeah.
Yeah. So what else can I, what other questions? Give me a question.
Is that all the egg is? Is just this
That's it.
visualization of just letting it reflect off and go away? Kind of
That's
like my wash off thing, but you're saying it doesn't even have to connect to you. Just let the reflection push it away. And then how do you repair the maintain? You talked about repair and maintain. Like if you feel like you've been like penetrated, like, oh, that guy really made me mad, right? Or whatever situation is, how do you like dig that out, that arrow or whatever that penetrated the egg or the armor?
If you're thinking about, oh, that guy really made me mad, okay, what happens is you just anchored that he made you mad.
Okay.
You might want to, what I would suggest doing is that you might want to take a really short, That's it. You got it.
Disappearing off into the egg.
That's right. That's it. And in relationship to repairing it, I think and that was so odd for me. That was really woo-woo. And I'm going, this is just so silly. And I just got quiet, and I'm just sitting there quiet, and I'm kind of going, okay, I'll look around at my egg, and this is really stupid, but I'll look around at my egg. And all of a sudden I went, oh, there's a crack. And I went, well, okay. And now over years, because, I just kind of let myself get into that part without being, too judgmental. I'd go, now I could just kind of wave my hand and kind of do a Yoda thing. It's just, okay, it's healed. But it's just that. It's just,
It's just believing in yourself and playing with the idea. Is that what you're saying?
You don't even have to believe. You just have to play with it.
Okay.
Remember, it doesn't require belief. It just requires action. And now that's really cool.
You write it down?
Yeah, requires action. That's another way of rephrasing exactly the same thing I like. Because I like the action thing. Yeah. Take action. Yeah.
Do it anyways.
Do it anyways, my little motto. When you come into something that you don't want to do it anyways.
Do it anyway.
Do it anyways.
Yeah.
And then it's over with, and you can move on to the next thing that you want to do with your time, which is always more pleasant than the one that you don't want to do.
Actually, what I find the best way to be more productive, you're talking about being productive in business, I'll just leave this thought, is that when you make a list of things that you want to get done, and you see the thing that you want to do the least, go ahead and get it done first.
Yes.
And you're going to go, wow, what a blessing that is.
And then it takes a weight off your shoulders.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And we want to help our listeners take a weight off their shoulders, which is why we asked Donna to be on this podcast with us, because we think it's super important to be able to shift your mind, hence Mind Shift on Demand. Look it up, Google it, go to Amazon.
Buy the book.
Go to Amazon, buy the book. I mean, good Lord, it's not that expensive, and it's really easy to read parts of it. Don't even read the whole thing. Just read the parts that make the biggest difference to you and start taking action. Later, you can go back and read the rest, because what you're going to find is that 40 days, you're going to have to keep us, we're going to be challenged with you to work on that a little bit every day. And as well as the listeners, as you go through this, you're going to be able to lift that lid off that we talked about earlier, so you can get to that next level that you want to get to in life and keep on growing. And we really thank you for joining us, Donna.
Thank you so much.
It's been such a blessing, and I definitely want you on the show again. But more than that, I want to just stay in touch and
Absolutely.
then
And
see you again soon in a few months.
thank you. And if someone's wondering how to pronounce my name, people say, oh, thank heavens for Donna Blevins, even though it's not spelled that way. But it's a good way to remember my name. And you asked me one question. You said,
Yeah.
how did I get to having a PhD? And I went back to school at the age of 58 because I thought it would be nice to have PhD on the cover of a book. And that was a silly reason to go back to school.
But I'm
But
sure
I
you
ended
learned
up,
a lot, right?
I ended up with 2 masters and a PhD. So I went to school for close to 10 years because I got so engrossed with metaphysics and performance spiritual psychology that I just went, whoa, this is fun. So I had a lot of fun with it.
And you're blessing so many people
Yes.
with your life.
Thank you.
And Donna's 70, but she looks 20 years younger. Obviously, I
do.
mean, look at her.
20.
She's a beautiful woman. And
Thank you.
all of us can become that there's no age limit. You could be 70 and be like, you know what? Now's the time to shift my life. I'm going to find my purpose. I'm going to chase after it, and I'm going to serve other people. And
Yes.
that's why Christina and I are here, because it's not a number, an age number. We're here till we're not here anymore. So let's make the most out of it. You don't want to come to the end of your life and discover that you had not yet lived.
Oh no,
Right?
no regrets.
So we're chasing on not having regrets in our life, and so we haven't even decided what our next podcast is going to be yet. But I know that we're going to keep on going down this road because we loved having you as a guest, Donna.
Yes.
And we will bring this up time and time again. And I
I'm
can't
honored
wait
to
to
be
have
here.
you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I'm-
much. So we're going to
You
wrap
bet.
this up, and we really appreciate Donna's time and your time for joining us and with this conversation, and we hope it was beneficial to you. Please let us know, because that's how
Yes.
we know that we're doing the right thing in serving you, and that's what we're here for. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. See you next time.